This is the Game Changers Experience. Deep dive conversations with leading business disruptors, Olympic athletes, celebrities, entrepreneurs, and influencers from around the world. This show will teach you insights about the winning principles in mindset, productivity, marketing, branding, entrepreneurship, business strategy, and more. Hosted by productivity authority, business strategist, former elite athlete, author, and public speaker, Adam Strong.
Hey you guys, Adam Strong here. Hope you're well. Just wanted to jump on here. Welcome to the Game Changers Power Up Thursdays episode. You know, it's really interesting. I was actually thinking about what to talk about in today's session. And what I see right now, and it's interesting, depending on when you're actually listening to this, what I'm seeing right now is that, you know, for most of you, 2020 has been quite a tough year for most, right? And, you know, many weeks ago, people have written off 2020. Like back in November time, they wrote 2020 off and they're like, oh, I'm just going to take the rest of the holiday off, recharge my batteries, and hopefully 2021 is going to be a different animal, in which it is going to be a different animal. It will be a different animal, 100%. But the question I ask you, all right, is how are you going to show up differently in 2021 compared to 2020? All right. So important to really think about that, because really interesting is that, you know, for a lot of people that have been struggling and to reinvent themselves, to adapt to the markets, to reinvent their business models, whatever it is, because we're all on different journeys, guys. Some of you guys that are listening in are startup companies. Some of you are existing established business owners, you know, depending on where you're at within the business cycle. And one thing that I really kind of wanted to share with you is I don't want you to write off 2020, right? 2020 is a time of reflection, okay? It's a time of perspective. And this 2020 should be a wake-up call for each and every single one of you guys, all right? And believe it or not, I'm actually teaching a lot of my students and clients right now the same methodologies and the same, I suppose, teachings about some of the success that I've had this year, because at the moment we're on a 50 to 75% growth in this year alone, which is crazy in these times. I never, ever thought that I would ever think about that type of growth in these types of times. But I'm actually teaching some of these methodologies. If you're interested, reach out. But I'm going to share some of the bits and pieces about some of the content that I'm actually putting out that you guys really need to jump on the train if you want to get more visible in 2021. So I want to go straight in, because the reason why I get so many great listeners from around the world, that I get a lot of engagement, is because the content that I create is unique to me. It's unique to my personality. It's because I come from a place of authenticity. Now, with you guys now some of you are living what I call living a lie. Okay. So the whole kind of fake it till you make it is done. It's dead, right? There's no such thing as fake it till you make it, because people are much more smarter, right? You know, in 2020, you need to create trust and understanding between you and your prospects at the end of the day. And you can only do that if you show vulnerability and that you are authentic to your nature, right? You're not going to appeal to everyone. And guess what? For me, that's okay. I don't appeal to everybody. And I'm okay with that. All right. Because I don't want to appeal to everybody. And again, I'm okay with that. And you should be okay with that too. All right. When it comes to content, I really want you to think about, and it's interesting because I actually had a friend of mine, and I believe it was 2 weeks ago. He reached out to me. He said, "Hey, Adam, we've been friends for a while. I just created this this article, and I put it on LinkedIn. And here's a link to it. Would you mind just giving us a comment?" I was like, "Yeah, great, no problem." Now, this particular person, I'm not going to name him, by the way, for professional reasons. But this particular person, he isn't consistent enough in his content, right? So he put up this article. It was a really good article, like really well written, really well structured. The big problem with that is that I'm now looking to see if he's going to create another one the week after, because creating content, number one, it needs to be consistent. All right. So if, for example, like with these podcasts, we have a podcast show on Tuesday and a podcast show on Thursday, right? And that's consistent. We've been doing that for quite some time. Your expectations of me is that I deliver what I promise, right? It's the same with anyone that writes content or creates content, is that you've got to be consistent in your approach. Now, some people might turn around. The reason why people don't do it is because they're so insecure about if they're going to get engagement, how many followers, how many likes, how many loves, how many connections they've got on social media or whatever it is, without kind of understanding the true dynamic between what human beings think and do. Okay. So I want you to really think about consistency. That the reality is the people that are listening in right now, each and every single one of you guys, 95% of you are not going to do what I tell you to do. That's the reality. Okay. And I'm not here to judge you or anything like that. Whatever, we all have choices, right? We're all human beings at the end of the day. But the reality is that 95% of people won't do it, what I'm about to share with you. Okay. And that's the difference between the people that are success and the people that are willing to really go out and above and beyond and deliver value to people, and the people that are just lazy and have this, what I call scattergun, sporadic approach to creating content, right? So in this day and age, okay, we have to build trust and understanding with our prospects. We can only do that if we show up, okay? That means we show up everywhere. We build visibility, but we are consistent in delivering a unique message, unique to whatever it is that you are unique to. So don't take your pedal off the metal quite yet, because for you guys that are basically at home, now we've got a vaccine waiting for normality to return. Guess what? Reality check here, ladies and gentlemen, is that it's not going to return to normal anytime soon. Okay. There is no such thing. We are going to embrace the digital revolution, whether you like it or not. Okay. So I just want to kind of put that to bed, because I get a lot of people messaging me saying, oh, yeah, I'd love to come, or I want to go to the masterclass, or I'd love to come on and listen to your podcast, but excuses, right? Excuse societies. You need to remove that from your vocabulary and just do it. Okay. Stop using excuses. Stop using the fact that there's now a vaccine. Stop using the fact that normality is going to return. Stop using the fact that, it's all going to be okay in 2021. No, it's not, because guess what? The only way it's going to be different is that you make some different choices, that you create some different habits, and that you have a strategy or a plan about moving forward. So what you guys need to do, okay, I'm going to tell this really, really important, okay, so I want to ask you a couple of questions first before we do this, and then I'm going to share with you a content strategy that I use in my business that you, or if you want to use it, it's entirely up to you. It's entirely up to you. But like I said, the majority of you will not do it purely because it's hard work. It creates there requires a little bit of thinking involved, and the fact that you've got to do it. And the other question I have to ask you guys, right, is that if you're not creating content, then what the hell are you doing? What are you doing if you're not creating content? Okay. Are you just sitting at home looking at the inbox and waiting for, if you're going to get a special client that comes in, or a customer, or whatever it is? The reality is that those non-revenue generating activities is not going to make you rich. Okay. What's going to make you rich? What's going to help you build your brand and help you going to create this trust and understanding between you and the prospects is by creating content. It's very, very simple. So firstly, before anything, in fact, I tell you what, let's go straight into this, because I don't want to keep rambling on it. It feels like I'm kind of giving you guys a bit of a hammering today, but I just wanted to really kind of put this to bed. Extremely passionate, as you know. So anyway, content strategy. So 2020 for me has been a real interesting year for me. So most of you guys know that I did the Game Changer Summit in 2020. That was great because it created a lot of visibility, traction. We had a lot, 2,000 people that went through that, organic traffic that came through, that saw the value in that. But more importantly, in terms of my content strategy after the summit, okay, was the podcast. All right. So there are a number of things that you can do in your own business in terms of from a content strategy perspective. All right. Depending on the type of content that you like to create. So people think in 4 different ways. Okay. So the first way is, people like to read articles. Some people like to read articles. I'm not much of a reader myself. Okay. And also there might be people that are dyslexic. It takes a little bit of extra time. A really good average article takes around 5 to 7 minutes to read. And most people skim read, right? So, that's the first way, is to create content, is write articles. Okay. And when you write in articles, the ideal article writing is I would say between 500 and 800 words, maybe pushing 1,000, but I would probably say around, a good article is around 750 words. Okay. The most important part of that is having a really good headline. So nothing too long, short, simple, straight to the point, don't overcomplicate stuff, right? So that's the first thing. Write articles and don't put it on your website, okay? Put it on your website a little bit later on down the line, but there's some great platforms out there. Medium.com is a great platform. It takes a little bit of time to create some traction. And again, what you want to do is you want to share and tag with people that you think that might be interested in your article, okay? The goal is to get engagement, all right? That's the goal. Secondly, LinkedIn is a great place to put up articles as well, because you can use the relevant hashtags, and it goes right out to the LinkedIn market as well. So that's a really good way to do that. So from the article, actually, then think about, okay, so I've done my article, okay, then you need to be consistent. So if you're going to write articles, do it at least once a week, all right? Pick a day of the week. Normally Tuesday to Thursday is a really good time to write articles and get them out there and published. Make sure that you get them proofread. There's nothing more annoying than seeing too many spelling mistakes. And it's okay to have the odd spelling mistake, because my belief is that perfection is poverty. If you keep writing an article and then going back to it and just making sudden changes here, you're just never going to get the article out. So perfection is poverty. People love that, right? So that's the first thing. So article writing, absolute must, right? That's the first thing. Secondly, podcasting. So back at the end of June, I launched my podcast, as you will hear on the Game Changers Experience. Launched it at the end of June, and it was purely because off the back of the Game Changers Summit, we launched the podcast. Now, podcasting for me, I really, really enjoy connecting with you guys, having conversations with you and that kind of stuff. It's something that I really wanted to do, but I didn't just want to create, a podcast. I wanted to take this podcast, okay, and make it, I have a marketing team essentially, and we create different content from the podcast, just from one podcast alone. So you'll be able to see some clips of these podcast shows on my YouTube channel, for example, and you can listen to that on the link below. You'll be able to see some of the quotes that we create. So we take some of the intellectual property and turn them into really good quotes as well. So from certain sentences. What else do we do? We also have kind of dipped in and done a little bit of article, but again, article writing isn't really my passion. So podcasting, bit of YouTube video as well, some quotes. We also have some audiograms as well that go out on Instagram. If you don't follow me on Instagram, make sure you do. Adam Strong Official, at Adam Strong Official. So we put some audiograms on there as well. So all in all, we've got about 4 to 5 different types of content that goes out from just one show. All right. So essentially you can recycle that and turn it into other great stuff as well. So podcasting for me, I love podcasting. I think it's great. I'm not going to go into too much into detail about how to launch podcasts. It's not my area of expertise, but I'm just telling you about what you can potentially do in terms of creating content, right? Third one, video. Okay. So YouTube, which is now owned by Google, of course, YouTube is huge, like massive. And again, if you're using YouTube, get yourself a really good camera. In fact, you don't even need a really good camera. You can just use like a simple iPhone like I have here. They've got really good video on here. Get yourself a bracket. So you have a bracket, and then you have like these remotes. Then you can like press and pause as you go along, and then you just upload it onto YouTube, and you can be raw, man. I mean, you can have it completely uncut if you want to, or you can add like a little intro and outro, and you can get someone on Fiverr, Upwork, Freelance, or whatever it is to just put on a professional intro and outro. And it's really, really cheap and effective, extremely, really well received by a lot of people. But the problem with video is that some people don't take video in very well, and it also is very time consuming. But the advantage of having a podcast is that if I'm commuting to, say, in my car, I can listen to a podcast. If I'm in the gym, I can listen to a podcast. When it comes to video, it's a bit more tricky, right? So it's also thinking about what your audience is likely to watch, okay? So video, YouTube, make sure you use your relevant hashtags as well, according to the needs and wants of your market as well, to make sure you've got that in there. And also in your YouTube video, if you go to my YouTube channel, for example, you'll see within each YouTube channel, you'll see, if you want to connect with me, these are my social media links. Love to know what you like, comment, whatever it is. The whole point is to get engagement. All right. Again, share, tag, personal message a few people and say, hey, I created this bit of content, thought it might be of use to you. Let me know what your thoughts or opinions are. And that's just great. You want to create some more and more engagement. All right. So that's the third thing. The fourth one, which I think is really good, and it's something that I'm going to be experimenting in the new year actually, is what they call scorecards, quizzes, and polls. All right. So we already do some poll stuff anyway on LinkedIn and also a little bit on Facebook as well. But scorecards and quizzes are really interesting because some people like to do something, right? And at the end of that, they have something like a free report or something to measure them against something that they're not doing. So, and scorecards and quizzes are a great way to engage with people because, again, it gets them to think about, what they're doing right, what they're doing wrong, what they can make improvements to. Okay. And then again, it's just a great way to have a call to action within that as well. So scorecards and quizzes, which is a really good one. If you want to check out scoreapp.com, I believe they've got like a 1-month trial. If you don't see the 1-month trial, please do reach out to me and I'll get you the free 1-month trial onto that because that's a really, really good one. So scorecards and then polls, which are really, really good. Same again. You can have with LinkedIn, for example, they have like 4 options. So you have like a provocative question and you might have like 4 answers. And again, have it on there for like 5 days, a week, or whatever it is. Share, tag a few people. And again, try to get what you want is engagement, guys. Okay. Because the more engagement you get, the more Google picks that up. And so social media platforms and the brand and your brand starts to build. It's not an overnight thing, right? This is a marathon, not a sprint. Okay. So I really kind of want you to put that into place. Content creation is an absolute must. If you want to become more visible in the really big digital space, you've got to create content. Visibility, got to build trust, authenticity, and you've got to show some vulnerability. And you can do that by any way, shape, or form. So just remember, there are 4 types of people in the world. People that like to read stuff. There are people who like to listen to stuff. There are people who like to watch stuff. And there are people who like to do stuff. So if you try to create some content, at least one piece of content that appeals to one of those things, then do it consistently, do it over time. All right. And then you will get the results. Remember, one of my mentors, and you'll probably hear me say this multiple times, Gary Vaynerchuk, he started a wine library, he started up Empathy Wines. That was his first business before he started up VaynerMedia, and started doing YouTube videos a year after it came out. And literally he had no one watching his videos for like 18 months, literally 18 months. All right. So it took him that long to get even some audience, right? Some traffic together. But the thing is that he was consistent all the time, regardless. Okay. And then eventually it pays off. Same with Joe Rogan and the podcast show. You know, Joe has been doing podcasting for the best part of like 4 or 5 years, way before most people had started their podcast out now. And then he sold a deal to Spotify for a year, which was like $100 million, which is fantastic, right? And he's able to, even though Spotify got exclusive rights, he's still able to, you know, do his own stuff. He's still able to take control of what he wants to do in terms of delivering content. So, you know, it's perspective, guys. It really is perspective. So listen, I hope that kind of giving you some ideas about content strategy, what you can do, how to reinvent it, you know. The other thing as well, with regards to social media as well, is that if you are putting content out there, right, make sure that you're posting at least 3 times a day. Okay. Now, you know, if you're on LinkedIn and you have an audience on LinkedIn, make sure you post on LinkedIn 3 times a day. If you have an audience on TikTok and you have a young audience, guess what? Post 3 times on TikTok. So make sure that you are doing at least 3 times a day, change it up a little bit. You know, use the same, recycle the content all the time. All right. And literally, guys, listen, how long does it take to put a tweet out there? What? Less than 5 minutes? Stop overcomplicating this shit, man. Keep it simple. All right. And just do it. All right. Don't give me excuses. Just do it. Right. So listen, hope you've enjoyed today's episode. Please do me a favor. Reach out to me on social media. If you like some of the episodes, if you like some of the Power Up Thursdays episodes, do me a favor, share, like, and tag or comment on the section below. I would greatly appreciate that. Listen, have a fantastic day, week, month, whenever you're listening to this. We'll see you soon. Take care. Bye-bye. Hey, you guys, I just want to say thank you so much for listening in to this episode of the Game Changers Experience. I hope that you got some amazing value, some great insights, and golden nuggets that you can implement into your business straight away. I would really, really appreciate it if you could leave a 5-star review on the button below. Have a fantastic day, and we'll see you on the next episode. Take care.